Hi, welcome back. So before we start, if you like our videos, please do not hesitate to subscribe to our channel. So in this video, we are going to talk about power law. So power law is also commonly known as 80-20 rule, and you must have heard it, or Pareto's law as well, because of influential economist Vilfredo Pareto, who observed that in Italy, 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the people. And you will find that this 80-20 rule is so ubiquitous in everywhere. So you'll find that 80% of the crime is committed by 20% of the people. Um, 80% of the revenue could be attributed to only 20% of the product. 80% of the links could be attributed to only 15% of the web pages, and so on, right? So now if you're a biotech company and if you tell me I have 100 investors, I can guarantee you, I would wager that 5 to 6% of the investors would be holding 60 to 70% of your company, right? Uh, One of the secrets in the VC industry is that the best investment equals or outperforms the entire fund. And it's so true, right? In VC investments and so on, you invest in 10 or 11 companies or 15, depending on the size of your fund, right? And maybe 7 to 8 or even 90% of them fail. It's just one or two of the deals that really give them a lot of return, right? Welcome to the power law. So now let's understand that how power law is different from normal distribution. So to understand this, let's talk about thickness of the books, right? So I have a couple of books here. What I can do is I can try to find out what is the thickness of these books, right? So maybe this book is around 10 centimeters thick, okay? This would be around half centimeter thick. This could be around mostly 6.5 centimeter thick, right? Let's say if I start plotting the histogram of all these books, okay, and let's say I do for 1,000 books or 2,000 books, right? You know what we are going to find it? Most of the observation will fall around the mean, and those books will be around 6 to 7 centimeters thick. It will be very difficult, or in fact, it's impossible that we have a book with 1,000 centimeter or 2,000 centimeter or 200,000 centimeter. It doesn't exist. It's exactly like the height. If you start plotting the height of the people, you're not going to find out, that okay, the height of the people is 12 feet or 13 feet. No, there is no way, right? So that's normally distributed, right? And if you start, let's say, plotting the histogram of, let's say, all the people living in Barcelona, and you try to put down their wealth, let's say 0 to 100,000, 100,000 to half a million to, let's say, 5 million, 5 to 50, 50 to 500, and so on, right? What you will find out is that most of the people will have wealth, around 0 to 100K, and then, so it will be a kind of a decreasing height. And because it's a decreasing height, we cannot attach any scale to that. In normal distribution, we could attach a scale, meaning we could say that the average size of, let's say, this book, or let's say thickness is around 6 to 7 centimeter. We could say that average height is around 5 feet 7 inches, for example, right? But in power law, we cannot do that, right? Because we cannot pick up a node and say that, hey, look, this node represents the characteristics of all other nodes. So that's, another critical difference between normal distribution and the power law. Now let's look at this particular graph. If you see here, and in terms of the network theory, at the, all the random networks will have very similar kind of links. Nodes will have very similar kind of links. Whereas if you see the second Facebook and the Twitter graph, on y-axis you have number of users, and on the x-axis you have number of followers, right? So you will realize that, and as we know, most of us have very few followers. However, there will be few people who will have a lot of followers, like Barack Obama. He has around 130 million followers on Twitter. Elon Musk is around, I think, 98 million. Prime Minister of India, Mr. Modi, has around 80 million, for example. So you will find that the beauty of power law is that both the small and extreme events exist together, right? And because we cannot attach any scale to that, we call it scale free, right? So what's the importance of this power law and why it is called power law? Actually, if you see that the adage success breeds success actually comes from the power law, because in the real world what happens is that if you start becoming successful, you will start getting more success, right? It's not a normally distributed curve that on an average, let's say if you start getting successful, then many people will start getting successful and it will have a kind of an average value. No. So in power law, it's when you move out from the mean in normal distribution, the tail starts decaying exponentially, whereas in power law, it decays very slowly, and that's why you have extreme events, right? So now the point is, how can you use this power law in your day-to-day work? I think it can be used in many aspects. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you are doing a budgeting forecasting of a clinical trial. You want to raise money to conduct phase 2B, phase 3, whatever it is, and you have 15 line items. Again, you would realize that 3 to 4 line items would make up around 70 to 80% of your cost. So what I would do is to focus on these 3-4 line items and make sure there is not huge variability in this cost, because there is nothing called a perfection. There is no way we can accurately predict that what would be the cost of this clinical trials, right? However, so think about it. Let's say the total cost of clinical trial is 5 million, and 4 to 5 line items, let's say 5 line items, contribute around 4 million of the clinical trial cost, and rest 10 line items, is around 1 million. Let's say one of the line item in the 10 million, in the 1 million category is around 5,000 euros. I wouldn't be worried if that 5,000 converts to by mistake to 50,000, meaning imagine I did not calculate it well, and instead of that 5,000 it balloons to 50,000. I wouldn't worry about that. However, if let's say one of the line items in 3-4 line items, let's say is 2 million, I would be very careful that 2 million doesn't convert to or by mistake to 5 million. If I do an error in calculating that, then I will be creating a disaster, right? Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.